Admiral Vandier, welcome to Romania, to Antena 3 CNN.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
It's such a pleasure and an honor for us to have an interview with you. What is the purpose of organizing this NATO industry forum here in Romania on the eastern flank, where we see much closer the threats that are coming to NATO?
So two things about it, timing and location. Timing, we are just after the La Haye summit, where the 32 countries have made a pledge of 3.5% of their GDP allocated to their common defense. And so this is a great engagement. A large amount of cash will flow to develop the military of the 32 countries. So this is the timing. The allocation, so at the proposal of your country, of Romania, this forum is held here in Bucharest, and it's a great signal of the commitment of NATO on its borders. Just after the border incidents we had with Poland in September, which are just continuing the constant pressure on the eastern border of NATO, whether with other drones, and you have some incidents in Romania too, with the jets that are closing to the NATO airspace. And so you know that this September, Secure has launched EVA, so it's an extended vigilance activity, which now comes from all the border, from the north to the south of the eastern border of NATO. And so this forum here illustrates the commitment of NATO on its eastern border.
Admiral, we need to be prepared to respond to all those drones incidents. In Romania, there have been more than 55 incidents in the last 2 years, and it seems that we are not adequate enough to have all the anti-drone system, anti-missile systems in an eastern flank, mainly in Romania. ACD is coordinating this effort to combat those threats, and what will be decided for us, for Romania, and for other countries?
So what ACT does is first to map the solutions. We made a request for information, a large one, more than 70 companies, 70, have answered. And so the idea is to propose the nations a sort of map of the solution they can acquire. Some of them have already discussion with some companies to acquire some systems. The second piece of the job is to integrate all the solutions that have been bought by the nations, whatever they are, in a comprehensive C2 net, command and control. That means that Secure will be able to activate these solutions, these cells along the border, and to coordinate the action of the fighters, EVA Eastern Sentry, with this new solution, these cells that will be put along the border and that will engage the drones.
Right now, the solution to get down the drones with the missiles from the F-16 or Eurofighters, NATO planes, is very expensive. These new cells will be adapted in order to decrease the expenses and have a cheaper solution? Yeah,
the focus, the drones are in fact a sort of attempt to outmass NATO things. The missiles we have, let's say the AIMD, so it's the Integrated Air Missile Defense, is much more designed for cruise missiles, for jets, for ballistic missiles. And so we need to develop this low layer, what we call a short-range air defense, SHORAD, with cheap solutions that makes that the price per shot, it's equivalent to the price of the target we are killing. And so we know that it's feasible. We have the technology to do that. Now it's a question of implementing this.
Admiral, NATO has a very special unit in Poland, the one that it's taking lessons learned from Ukraine, from the Russian war of aggression, and is integrating NATO officers with Ukrainian officers that are watching the development of the war and what better solutions could be to combat the threats in the future, mainly drones, but also others.
So the name of the center is self-relevant, so it's analysis, education, and training. Why analysis? Because we see in Ukraine a change of character of war. We see the use of space, the use of IT, of AI, of unmanned, of drones. And so we see that we need to bring this in the way we will fight in the future. So this experience needs to be understood and then translated in NATO process, in NATO concepts, in NATO training. And so that gives the other domains in which DADEC is relevant, which is training. That means that we need to bring the experience of what Ukraine got on the field in NATO. And so, for example, we have now red teams from Ukraine that comes for the war games, for the modeling and simulation, and for the field exercises. For example, in REPMUS, that is an unmanned exercise with ships, they were driving the red team. And so this is something where they bring something to us. And we are helping them on the other way. So for example, we have some programs on their demand where we put money to help them to develop solutions, whether it could be for the counter drones, the counter glide bombs, or in other domains. We will have soon a medical challenge where we'll try to help them to have a better use of the medics and to have a better, I would say, taking care of the soldiers when they're wounded.
Admiral, until now, NATO was the one to help Ukraine. It seems, on what you said, that right now Ukraine is helping NATO with combat experience and lessons learned from the war of aggression from Russia.
Yeah, I think a war is always a question of adaptation. That means that the one that wins is the one that adapts better and faster. And so in this game, in this race, which is between, I would say, two blocks, the one that takes the better the experience, that adapts better, will be in a stronger position. So for NATO that wants to be relevant, to be deterrent, taking into account this experience is fundamental.
What is the, let's say, the main objective of the transformation for NATO when we are looking at the Russian invasion and war in Ukraine?
So we need to keep a fighting edge. That means that we need to decide to see better, to decide better, and then when we act, we need to be more lethal. That means that when we decide to strike something, we have very good results. And so this is a loop where you observe, you orient your forces, and then you decide and you act. This loop has been, I would say, tremendously accelerated by the new technology, by the use of space observation, by the use of large-scale AI, and by the new cognitive tools. We have, for example, the SATCOM now, which is available at the commandant level, is something that changed everything. So it's what we are taking in account, and we want NATO to be able to fight with these new technologies very fast.
Admiral, there's a huge debate in Romania about, of course, Article 5 main, Article 4 consultation, but also Article 3. With your excellent position and evaluation, do you think Romania, like other countries in the eastern flank, is capable to fulfill the Article 3, I mean, military resistance in case of a Russian aggression until the other allies are coming?
So the articles are, I would say, it's a diplomatic language. So Article 3 just illustrates the need for the nations to be able to face themselves a critical situation and not counting on the cavalry that could come from elsewhere. And that gives us global resilience. I think all of us have the same commitment to raise our internal defense, and that's been the pledge of this 3.5%. And the US have been pretty clear on the fact that the substract of the Article 5 is the Article 3. We need to be stronger, we need to ramp up, we need to stand up with our military to be deterrent, and not to only count on the others to do the job.
Final question, Admiral. I want to thank you again for this interview. Russia transformed the Black Sea into a war zone. Romania has the longest border with Ukraine with the war, but also the longest exposure to the Black Sea theater. How will you evaluate the situation in the Black Sea and the NATO effort to bring peace and security to the Black Sea region?
So we, ACT, have developed tools for that. So remember in last year, in December, we had the cables that have been cut in the Baltic Sea. and we set up a task force made of USVs. In a few weeks, we operated during all the summit period, 30 days, a fleet of 70 ships, small ships, unmanned. And so we used software to do that. And so this experience is available for the countries of the Black Sea. So I had some discussion with your shot about how Romania and Bulgaria and Turkey can use this experience we are giving to them in order to use that kind of tools to better control their waters. You have mines, you have some smuggling activities, and so when the war will stop, the control of the Black Sea will be a great issue, and the USV fleet we've raised is a tool that we are giving to the NATO members.
Admiral Pierre Vandier, Supreme Allied Commander Transformation, thank you for this interview for Antena 3 in Romania.
Thank you.